All right, so today we're going to talk about 3 types of fitness. Now, you're probably looking at me and thinking, this guy is not the guy that I want to talk to about fitness. And you'd probably be right. Now, I am certainly not the purveyor of fitness, but it's not all just about physical fitness. So we're going to go ahead and talk about 3 types of fitness that every defender, every father, every protector should have. And the first one, we're going to go ahead and get this one out of the way, is physical fitness. So when you're talking about physical fitness, you need to be able to do certain things because taking a gun to a gunfight is important, but maybe it's not going to be a gunfight. Maybe it's something that you have to fight your way out of with your hands. Maybe it's not something that is a lethal force kind of situation. Maybe it's just you need to stop someone from doing something so that you can get away. Now maybe that is maybe it's using something like pepper spray, and maybe you have to spray someone or fight them to get to your pocket to be able to pepper spray them, something like that. But you need to be able to fight off somebody, and maybe it's not a fight situation. Maybe it's a flight situation. Maybe it's something you have to get your family out of there. Now, if you can't run, let's say a tenth of a mile or a quarter of a mile to get away from something or to get to your vehicle, something like that, that's something you need to consider. Now, I am certainly not the biggest specimen of physical fitness, but I can run a pretty quick, short distance to be able to get away from something, to be able to get to my vehicle. I could probably fight for maybe 20-30 seconds and try to get the upper hand. I used to do a lot of martial arts when I was younger, so I've got some things up my sleeve, and I might be able to fight. And you know what? Honestly, I know how to fight dirty. So when it comes down to your life, that's something you have to think of. So you need to have at least enough physical fitness to be able to fight your way out of something, or to be able to go hands-on with someone and be able to stop them from doing it. Maybe you have to fight them to get to your gun. You know, if you're not paying attention, which you should be, you could end up getting into a fight, and that fight might be for your gun, especially if for some reason you didn't conceal it well enough, which is all something you should think about ahead of time, making sure that's taken care of. But you might have to fight somebody, especially if I carry appendix most of the time. Sometimes I carry at the 3 o'clock position to make sure that I'm concealed if I'm doing something specific, or maybe it's church, something like that. It's kind of hard to conceal appendix with a big belly, so I usually have to carry at the 3 o'clock position if I have to tuck my shirt in, something like that. So if someone tries to fight me and it's at the point where I have to use a gun, I may have to fight them to get to my gun back here. You know, honestly, if it's appendix, I'm probably going to get to it fairly quickly, and I'm going to be shooting them off of me. But you may have to fight someone. You may have to fight someone for 20 or 30 seconds so that your family can get away, and then you do what you need to do. So that's something to think about. Physical fitness. You may have to run away, like I said. So physical fitness. I'm going to stop talking about that, and we're going to go ahead and move on to the second one. Now, the second one is mental fitness. It's been said that your body will not go where your mind has not gone. If you haven't thought through a situation when you get to that point, now there's 3 options you're going to end up with. You're going to either fight, flight, or freeze. Now, if you haven't thought of a certain situation or thought through certain situations where you know what you would do if you get put in a bad spot, you're going to have to either fight, flight, or hopefully not freeze. Now, if you haven't thought through it, the odds are you're probably going to freeze. So, you need to think about, what if I'm at the store, and what if I'm in the checkout line and an active shooter comes in? What are you going to do? Have you thought that through? Are you going to get down on the ground and hide, and hopefully he doesn't see you? Are you going to back your family out and maybe go around to another exit? Are you going to fight? Are you going to, if you have your concealed carry permit, are you going to be able to get your gun out and get it on the fight and win the fight before that guy can kill 3, 4, 5 people? There's an awesome video, and it's an older video by John Lovell from the Warrior Poet Society, and he is showing people how to clear buildings by themselves. And the whole time you can hear pop, pop, pop in the background. Every second that you take to think about what you're going to do because you haven't already thought of it, pop, pop, pop. And that's people going down. Maybe it's you going down. Maybe it's your family going down. So you really have to think these things through ahead of time. You know, if you're at the ATM and you see someone shady standing behind you, have you already thought about how the situation's going to go? You're going to keep an eye on them, you know, but what if they come up to rob you? Are you just going to throw the money down and run away? Are you going to, what are you going to do? You know, you want to think through those situations. Distractions you could use to distract them and get your gun. You know, maybe you throw your wallet in their face and get your gun out and use it. You know, think about these things ahead of time. You should be thinking about maybe locking your doors when you get in from the store, or locking your doors when you're at a stop sign, things like that. So there's a lot of mental stuff that you need to go through. The biggest thing you need to think about when it comes to mental fitness is whether or not, if you're a concealed carrier, if you can actually take a life. Can you pull a gun out, point it at someone, and take their life if they're trying to kill you or your family member or someone out in the public? Can you do that? Have you thought that through? Now, you may get your concealed carry permit and go, I got a gun, look at this, cool. And you put it in a holster and you're good to go. But when that time comes, are you ready to do that? I've thought about it. I've thought about it for years. I've had my concealed carry permit off and on for the last 9 years or so. Have you put the time in to think about whether or not you could take someone's life? I know this is a tough thought and it's kind of a morbid thought, but you need to think about it. You need to be able to do what you have to do, or honestly, if you can't, don't carry a gun. You know, carry pepper spray, carry a knife, whatever you have to do, something like that. But if you have to pull that gun, are you ready to possibly take someone's life to preserve yours or your family's or someone even out in the middle of public? Personally, I believe that no one has the right to unjustly take another person's life. So if there's an active shooter and I have the position and the ability to stop that problem, I'm going to do it. You know, I've got life insurance, my family's taken care of, you know, but that person isn't allowed to take another life. Not like that. If they were defending themselves, it'd be a different story, but, you know, those cowards are not allowed to take another person's life. And if I'm in the position where I can stop it, I'm going to do something about it, even if it means me not coming home. And like I said, my family has life insurance. They know, I know that they're going to be taken care of. But it's something you need to think about. And another thing, you need to be prepared with something like insurance. Life insurance for your family. You need to have concealed carry insurance if you have your CCW. You can look at USCCA or US Law Shield, something like that. Personally, I have USCCA. Everything I've done, I've prepared for that, and I prefer what they have to offer. So you need to think about these things through ahead of time. Mental fitness is a big one. So think things through. Think it through way ahead of time so that when you are called upon to do what you have to do, you don't have to think about it. You can just do it. All right, now the third type of fitness that you need to have for the fight is what I would call spiritual fitness. Now, you may not be a spiritual person. You may not be a churchgoer or something like that. I know that not everybody on the conservative side of things or in the firearms community is a spiritual person. So if you're not, I'm going to go ahead and say that you need to get right with your family. Now imagine you leave the house for work, and last thing you said to your wife was something mean. You guys got into a fight. Maybe you scolded one of your kids, and it was just one of those bad mornings, right? Do you really want to leave your house having whatever you said be the last thing you ever said to your family member? I mean, and that's a normal day thing, right? You could get in the car, go to work, and have a crash on the way home, and boom, you're gone. But when it comes to a situation where you're out in public, maybe there's an active shooter, maybe someone's trying to rob you, or they've got a gun to your head, something like that, and you have to do something and you don't make it home. Do you really want the last thing you said to your family to be the last thing you said? That's a horrible thought, right? So maybe spirituality, doesn't fit you, but think about your family. Is your family taken care of? Is the last thing you said to your family, is that something you'd want to be remembered for? Now, if you are a spiritual person, now I'm a Christian. I believe that Jesus Christ died on the cross for my sins and for your sins and for everyone else's sins, so that we can trust and put our faith in Him for freely to go to heaven. Now, you may be a different religion. You may be Muslim or Taoist or Buddhist or any other of thousands of different religions. You could be a Mormon, Jehovah's Witness, anything, right? You should make sure at the point where you need to get into maybe an altercation, or maybe you need to defend your life or your family's life, that you are right with your God. You don't want to go into a situation wondering, oh man, like, this could be it. Am I taken care of? Like, am I sure of where I'm going? Am I sure that I've done enough? Am I good enough? Have I been a good enough person in my life? You need to have those things thought out. Now, like I said, you don't have to be a spiritual person. I don't judge anyone. That's my personal belief. And every one of us in this great country has the freedom of religion. Now, you need to have those things figured out. You definitely need to be thinking about, have those things figured out before you have to get into that, so that you're not taking up time that you need to make decisions thinking, am I good enough? Have I done what I need to do? Am I ready? Am I ready to die? It's said that everyone believes in God on their deathbed, and maybe that's not necessarily true, but do you want to be laying there on your way out of this world and not know what that you've been good enough, that you've done what you needed to do, that you said all the right things to your family? So make sure you've taken care of that. So those are the three things I wanted to talk about. Physical fitness, like I said, I am no special athlete of any kind. I've got enough where I can fight my way out of something, where I can run long enough to get out of something if I have to. I'm certainly working on it, trying to get better, so that I can be harder to kill. So you need to think about physical fitness. Second thing, you need to think about that mental fitness. The body's not going to go where the mind is not gone, and you don't want to take up precious moments thinking about what you're going to do when you could have already decided that and thought through that. Now, you can't think of every situation, but you can think of a solution that works for a lot of situations and apply that to whatever you're doing. And then finally, spiritual fitness. Get right with your family. If you're not a spiritual person, get right with your family, your friends, that parent you haven't seen in a long time, that sibling you haven't talked to in a long time, that because you haven't been in a good relationship with. Get those things taken care of. And spiritual fitness, including spiritual fitness, like get right with your God. Get the things figured out that you need to, so that you don't have to spend precious moments wondering whether or not you've done enough. So anyway, I know that's kind of morbid, but I hope this helped. I hope it gives you something to think about. I've certainly thought about it myself, and so I wanted to pass that along. Thank you for watching the video. If you have any questions, put it down in the comments. If if you would, subscribe. If this has helped you at all, subscribe and help me to gain some traction here. And then, yeah, I hope you have a great day, and thank you very much.